But when you think of it going, okay, so I can spar with them, or we can do something more elegant and dance with them. So I don't have to think, I don't have to perform. I just have to be interested in someone and listen. I'm so good at listening. But when you hang your hat on that, your business is a roller coaster because you're following this like crazy tide that's unpredictable and it's not a controllable. And it's like, that's not pushy. It's playful. It is confident. It is assertive. But at the end of the day, if he wasn't interested, he'd have hung up.
I am super excited to welcome my guest today. Amy Donaldson is an elite level sales and leadership coach with Southwestern Consulting. She specializes in recruiting, sales training, and leadership development. Over the course of 30 years, she has consistently ranked in the top 10% across multiple sales roles. We're going to learn a lot today. Amy is super passionate about helping people and teams break down barriers, maximize performance, and reach their full God-given potential. Her career spans so many different industries, and you're going to learn all of it today, especially her firsthand experience in management behavior and sales psychology. She is recognized for her ability to adapt communication styles to fit the unique needs of her audience and for delivering sales trainings to organizations across a wide range of industries nationwide. Amy, I am so happy to have you here today.
Well, thank you, Lynea. That was amazing.
Yeah, I had the opportunity to be introduced to you through a mutual group that we're in. So we sat down for a few minutes and I was like, yeah, I know so many people who want to hear what you have to say. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you.
yeah. So tell the audience a little bit about yourself. I mean, I got to hear so much, so let's let them hear the love too.
Sure. Well, I mean, you covered most of it right there in the bio. You know, one of the things I'm most passionate about is leadership and sales skills, and it's what I work with people all over the country on.
I love that. So your career you've done a lot.
Yeah.
You've done a lot in your career. So, we connected because we have you have a real estate, you had a career in real estate.
Yep.
So tell me a little bit about kind of your career, how you got into, your very first sales role, and then how it kind of took you here where you are today.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll pick up the thread when I first got into real estate, which was in '06. So a very scary time to enter the market because things had been going great. It was just beginning to look like maybe they were about to not go so great, which they then started going very, very not great. And, I was a single mom at that time. And so the urgency and the importance that I really made at work was significant.
Yeah.
And I had hired a coach with like the very last dollars in my bank account. And then I had kind of freaked out, wondering if that was just the dumbest thing I ever did. And it wasn't. It was actually probably completely changed the trajectory of my life, where I just learned how to treat real estate as a business. I love realtors. I know how hard they work. And so I don't mean it to sound disparaging when I say there's a lot of realtors who don't treat it like a business, but then they expect it to pay them like a business. And I say that with so much love in my heart. And the reason why I say that instead of just keeping my mouth shut about it, is I think it's important for people because so many people that I've said that to who were in that camp, when they realize that's what they're doing, and that's what helped me was realizing, oh, I need to treat it like a business if I want it to pay me like it, and it will. If I treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay me like a hobby.
Mm-hmm.
So I say that to be helpful, not to be hurtful.
Yeah. Hey, you're talking to the right person. This is what I do. I teach real estate agents how to treat their business like a business. I teach them how to look at things from the CEO lens.
That's right.
Right. So I'm right there with you. I totally get it.
It's like my heart always, there's a special place in my heart when a real estate agent is like, well, I treat everyone the same. When I'm asking them, which clients really should you be spending your time with? What's the best use of well, I just treat everyone the same, no matter what they're purchasing and to some degree, yes, everyone deserves the same level of respect, but not everyone deserves the same amount of your time. So if
Yes.
somebody is if there's two things, if they're buying in a low price point and they're not really very motivated, you're going to make less than minimum wage on this person. And I'm like, at what point does that actually make sense? And by the way, if they're not very motivated, it's not that big of a deal for your energy to match theirs. So I'm not advocating for like putting a dollar amount on everybody's head and a price tag and like, what's their price point? But really consider if you're working at 100% commission, how motivated is this client? Because you know what? If you want $100,000 piece of property, but you're motivated, like you're like, hey, I've got the cash and I'm buying like today if I can, awesome. That's actually a better use of your time than the $2 million buyer who's like, well, we'll know it when we see it. Whether it's this year or 2 years from now, blah, blah, it's like, so it's not the price tag. It is more the motivation and then some combination of both.
Yeah, it's funny you're talking about that. Like that was a while ago, right? Like this is, but I'm like, this is totally the same. It's the same issues today, 2006 to today. It's the same thing. Real estate agents all over have that exact same.
Well, and today, the biggest objection that people have to purchasing or even sometimes selling, if now they got, is the interest rates.
Right.
Right. And if someone is making their decision based on the interest rate, but they want you to go show them 10 different houses that they have no intention of buying, that's not the best use of your time. Whereas there's other people where their decision is not interest rate driven, right? Like we are getting a divorce and will not be living in the same house. We are selling this one.
Right.
Or I have a family member that recently became ill and I will be moving closer to them to be the primary caretaker. Or we are getting married. And by the way, yes, we do want to live together. So we're selling these houses and right. Like we're not waiting for the interest rates to improve. Those are the people that agents should be spending their time with, is who is ready and motivated right now. And in every market, there's different reasons why somebody would be motivated, why they wouldn't be, whether it's interest rate driven, whether it's market driven, whether there's a recession and layoffs, like whatever it is, it's always something. And so not treating whatever the current market is as this special unicorn. It's like, that's just the thing of the moment. So we'll just put that here and we can just swap it out for something else. And then not buy people. So I'm waiting for the interest rates to go down. Okay, well, tell me more about that. Because a seller who's going to sell this house and buy this house doesn't really need to do anything right now and has like a 3% interest rate. Yeah, they're going to wait for the interest rates to come down. That makes financial sense.
Right.
If you're a first-time home buyer and you're currently renting, that does not make financial sense, but you might have seen something online that makes you think the responsible thing to do is wait for interest rates to come down. But that first-time home buyer, they don't even really know what that means.
Nope.
And agents are so used to hearing I'm waiting for interest rates, they're like, okay, got it. Rather than taking the time to be like, awesome, tell me more about that.
Yeah. Why is that important to you? What does that mean for you? Like
walk me through, like financially, how does that? Yeah. I mean, I tell agents all the time that if a first-time home buyer who's currently renting, now if they're a first-time home buyer and they're living with family and they don't have rent, it may or may not make financial sense, right? If they're paying rent, it's like, awesome. So you want to wait till interest rates come down. Where did you get this information? Like, what makes you think that's a smart? Almost always it's going to be, oh, well, this is what we keep hearing online or what we keep seeing. Okay, awesome. Well, let's see if that's the case for you. Because just kind of honoring going, yeah, for a lot of people that makes sense. Let's look at your situation. What are you currently paying for rent? Wow, what does that come to in a year? So if it's $2,000, so annually, what is that? 24,000. Wow. How long has that been going on? How long have you been renting?
What's interesting is like, if you think a second ago, you said every market's going to have a different motivation, right? And so if people were really only motivated by money, that means that everybody would have sold their house during COVID.
Right.
And that didn't happen. That didn't happen. There were a lot of people who weren't selling houses during COVID, which is part of the reason we had such a big COVID market. Like the COVID market was because people weren't selling their houses and everyone wanted to buy the only few houses that were on the market. So if everyone was only money driven or interest rate driven or, whatever, home price driven, everyone would have sold. But
Right.
people will always, I think you and I we might have talked about this before we set up this call. We'll find out. Because you said something really important that I literally breathe. I probably vomit it all the time. It's like, say no more often than you say yes to working with people. Say no more often, because it's like, you shouldn't, like, people will buy whatever it is. It could be a house, it could be coaching, it could be whatever. People will buy when the emotion is strong enough. When there is strong enough emotion, people will buy. When the pain of staying the same, the pain of being in the same spot is higher than the pain of changing, that is when they're going to buy. Regardless of what the market's going to do.
Right. And one thing that I think is important, I mean, whether you sell houses or widgets or car parts,
web design,
web design, is understanding how to have the conversation. So right now, what people are saying is we're going to wait for interest rates to come down. And agents are accepting that as a gospel truth. Everybody's waiting for interest rates to come down. So I need to wait for interest rates to come down before I actually have a business again. Mm-hmm. Instead of understanding that every market has their thing, their buzzword, like that's the thing, that's the sentence. I'm gonna wait for interest rates to come. Okay. So rather than understanding, that's your icebreaker. That's where the conversation starts. And when you understand, okay, if you remember when Zillow came through and was buying all the houses in different neighborhoods, yep. Right? And if you were in one of the markets where they were doing that, that was a big thing. Oh, we're going to go with an iBuyer, right? And so there's always something. And so understanding that, okay, that's my icebreaker. So I need to know how to take that sentence. I need to know what questions to ask to pivot that into real business, how to start with that sentence and dig in. And I think that most people don't look at their business that way. They look at that as like, that's their roadblock. That's your icebreaker. Right. Right. Yeah. And the people who do realize, okay, that's just where the conversation starts. Most of them, unfortunately, what they focus on are what are my arguments that I'm going to say to that. But what ends up happening if somebody says, well, we're waiting for interest rates to come down. And you're like, oh, but let me show you why that doesn't make sense. And you have all the math and you have all the logic. You kind of end up sparring. Oh, but this, oh, but that, oh, but this, oh, but that, right? Mm-hmm. And you can feel it energetically and you might win the sparring match, but you're going to lose their business. So that's not a really effective strategy. Although it might make you feel smart. It might make you feel good. Like it might give you a little dopamine hit. Yeah.
Get a little bit of ego rush, an ego boost.
Right. It might give you an ego boost, but it's not putting dollars in your bank account.
Yeah.
But when you think of it going, okay, so I can spar with them, or we can do something more elegant and dance with them.
I like that. Yeah.
So the sparring is when you hit them with logic and you tell them all your things and you make all your points.
I love it. Right? I love
it. The dance is when you just show interest. You ask a question. They answer you ask another question. You lead them down a certain path to when they realize maybe it does make sense. Maybe. And now what happens is you're earning their trust and their business. And it's this beautiful, fun unfolding because for most people, right now is a great time to buy. Almost everyone that's a first-time home buyer, this is the best time to buy. If they wait, they're going to be so sad. They don't understand what's going to happen when the interest rates go. They don't understand how any of it works. And so they don't understand how many people are going to flood the market and that's going to drive prices up and how they're going to have to pay. Not only will it drive asking price up, but then they're going to have to go 100,000 over that. and they're not going to get any repairs done. They're going to have a huge honey-do list. Like, they just don't understand. But as an agent, if you try to like tell them all that, it's like, well, like that's so overwhelming and confusing. Like, that's not going to make them want to buy. But if you're just like, wow, like, what are you paying for rent? Okay, yeah, what is that? How long has that been going on? I mean, if someone's paying $2,000 a month for 10 years, that's $240,000.
Yeah.
So if you don't tell them, but you ask them and you make them do the math, like, how long have you been? Oh, 10 years. Wow. So at $24,000 a year, what is that? Or if it was 5 years, it's half of that, right?
Right.
Whatever amount of time it was, the amount they spent on rent is so much more than they realize.
Right.
They think they're paying $2,000 a month. They don't realize they've paid $100. You get them to see that, and it's like, wow, how much longer do you want to let that go on? Like, those are the questions. That's the dance to where they're going to be like, wait, no, we got to stop that. If we wait another year for interest rates to go down, right off the bat, there's a $24,000 price tag before we've even looked at now how much more you're going to have to pay for your house.
Because like you're paying in rent.
Tangible that they can emotionally feel versus this confusing stuff that they don't understand, right? But like, wow, so like, how much longer do you want to let that go? I don't. Okay. I mean, I guess so. My next question is, do we need to wait for interest rates to come down? Or does it seem like even at today's interest rates, this is probably your next best move?
It's interesting. So I just got back, and I mean, I know you coach more than real estate agents, so we'll get there in a second, but this is just such a good conversation. So I just got back from a conference with the CEO of my brokerage, and he said that, there's basically 2 skill sets that you have to master in this market. And I think this is cross industries, but there's 2 skill sets you need to master. The first is education, and the second is conversations. Yeah. And I think like whether it's in, real estate or any industry, I think education and conversations are 2 things that kind of stop people from getting to their full potential and also help people get to their full potential. So I like to look at it as like, it's either an anchor or a catalyst, an anchor or a domino. You can choose to have your conversations and education anchor you in the same spot you're always in because you don't want to make them better, you don't want to grow in that skill set or whatever it is. Or you can choose to let it be a domino and be the only 2 things that you really master and really get better and be the best at those 2 things and watch what happens to your business.
Well, in both of those, like in my mind, it's questions. Correct. Both of those, the best way to educate is through asking people questions. Mm-hmm. Thought-provoking questions, reflective questions. Mm-hmm. And the best way to have a conversation that's fun for the other person is by asking them questions.
Yeah, Ed Milet says that part of the reason, do you listen to Ed Milet?
I love Ed Milet.
Okay, good. Me too. He's my favorite. Total. Like I'm like a total Ed Milet fangirl. So
me too.
Yay, good. So you'll know when I'm talking about this, what he says. He says that the reason that people remember him as Ed is not because he's Ed Milet, but it's because when he's present with them, when he's in front of them, when he's there, he's there. He's asking questions, and he's not asking questions to answer a question. He's asking questions to listen and asking questions to understand.
That's right.
And so I think that's exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of skills to learn. So when you really focus on the types of questions that you ask, then you learn, when I'm at a networking event, rather than practicing, what's my elevator pitch? How am I going to say that I'm a real estate agent without using the words real estate agent? I'm a matchmaker for homes and humans.
I don't mean to laugh, but it's true. I mean, I was literally in a coaching program where the coach was telling us to practice you have a 30-second elevator pitch. And I'm like, so I literally, when I first got into real estate, I was like, first of all, when I was in corporate America, I hated taking the elevator with the people that were higher up because I always felt like I had to say something profound right then and there, right? Rather than just asking questions. I mean, because I'm always curious. I'm like, how did you get to be CEO? Like, those are the questions I ask. And I was always thought like, oh, you can't say that. So I was in coaching and she said, you need to practice your elevator pitch And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm a dream home matchmaker. Literally is what I said. So you just,
I know, it's funny because it's true. Well, when I'm working with people, I always coach them to think about what questions you're going to ask. Because here's the thing, nobody cares about your elevator pitch. They don't care if you say I'm a dream maker or I'm a real estate agent or whatever. Plus, like when you say all these other things, they're like, what does that mean? Like, are you a realtor?
yes,
Like,
100%. That's what has happened to me all the time.
like they're immediately trying to translate it. Okay, loan officer. Okay, you like when you say these confusing things, right? Like I help people achieve their goals. It's like, what does that mean? What actually do you do?
Right. What kind of
Because
goals?
right? But so when you focus on what questions to ask people, it makes you more interesting and now they care, right? So nobody, and especially if you haven't asked them what they do and you haven't let them talk for at least like a weird amount of time, they don't care what you do. If you ask eventually they'll be like, oh my gosh, I'm monopolizing the conversation. I'm so sorry. I don't even know what you do. Now they're listening because there's an emotional variance that's different from every other conversation. So understanding like in a situation where it's a buyer consultation, those are the questions that I already went through. Those are the exact same questions that you can ask 100% of the time. When you're at a networking event, you can have your list of the exact same questions that you ask 100% of the time. When you're sitting in front of on a listing appointment, the exact same questions. And don't worry so much about what you're going to present. If you're letting the other person talk 80% of the time, everything you say will be very interesting to them. Concern yourself more with the questions. Like when I coach people who do a lot of networking, that is, they've usually already been coached to talk about their elevator pitch. And then they come up with something weird that confuses people where they're like, I don't know what you told me. And one of my favorite ones is like, what sets you apart? I remember when I used to sell real estate, I had a coach that asked me that, like, what sets you apart from every other real estate agent? And I was like, I know he wants me to come up with some fun, fluffy little thing. But I told him, I'm like, there's only one thing that really needs to set me apart from everybody else is the fact that I'm the one sitting at the kitchen table with a listing agreement. That's the biggest differentiator.
Yeah.
Is that I got in the door, I'm sitting at their kitchen table and I've got a contract sitting there and I've got a pen in my hand. And if we have a great conversation, they're going to sign it. And I don't need to show them. No client has ever asked what set you up. Same thing with coaching. The biggest difference is I'm the one sitting in front of you when you realize I need this.
Yep.
I need help if you can help me. Am I the best coach in the world? Probably not. Am I very, very good? Do my clients get amazing results? Yes. And when I'm sitting in front of someone and there's a need, can I help them? Absolutely. Awesome. Click here, fill out this form, and let's rock and roll. Yep. Right? Like, can I fix the problem that you're having? Absolutely. Could someone else fix it faster? Maybe. Could someone else fix it slower? Maybe. I don't know. You want to spend the next year interviewing 1,000 coaches? Or do you want to, in the amount of time to find someone that's going to help you better, will have already solved your problem? So
I love it when people come on my calls, my one-to-one calls, my strategy session, and they basically like, what makes you different than every other coach out there? And I'm like, it's interesting that because I've never really asked that question. Like, I'd never get on a call with someone unless I understand unless I already have an idea of how they feel different from me. So it always is interesting to me when people ask me that question. But you're right. The answer is because you're on the call with me right now. Like you obviously thought there was a difference, else you wouldn't have booked a call.
Yeah, like I'm the one that helped your friend that referred you or that saw you here. And nobody cares what makes me different from some other coach. Can you help me with this problem?
Right.
Yes or no. If that's a yes, let's do. They're not like, how are you going to help me different than anyone else? Well, I've gone through the same ICF certification that they went through. I'm probably going to ask you very similar questions that they're going to ask. Do you want to spend the next month doing the research or the next month solving your problem? My life doesn't change when you get a coach. Yours does. Like, how do you, what, are you ready for change? Yes or no? If the answer is yes, then we're not interviewing other coaches. We're signing up today and we're taking action. Right? And no matter what it is, when you're ready for change, you just take action. And the best action usually is the one that's in front of you. I mean, a huge part of my belief system is my faith. So I also kind of think that to ask like, are you the best coach? It's like, I don't even know what that means, but am I the best coach for you?
That's the more important question.
Like Heavenly Father or the universe or whatever you believe in put us together to have this conversation.
Right.
So chances are, maybe I can tell you for sure when I'm in a consultation with someone, I'm the best coach on this call.
I can say that with 100% certainty. I'm the best
100%.
coach on this call right now.
Uh-huh.
It's so true. It's
At
so
a listing appointment, are you the best agent
Yep.
out there? I don't even know what that means. I am the best agent in this house at this moment.
Right. Exactly. And that's the thing is like people just need to go in with that confidence, right? That confidence is all you got to have is like, I'm here right now. And
again, nobody's going to ask you that. If you get really good at asking them questions, the person that you're with, they will have a feeling that they should move forward with you.
Yeah, it's so
You're
true.
You're not going to claim I'm different than everyone else. I'm better than, I mean, especially in real estate, it's like, I'm using the same forms as everybody else. I'm going to use the same lockbox system. I'm going to use the same sign as everybody in my office. It's going to go on the same MLS, which is going to push it out to all the same. The biggest difference is going to be like, who are you going to call when you're having that anxiety attack and you're wondering if that's going to be me? Or do you want to have that conversation with me or somebody else? Who do you want talking you off the ledge when you're freaking out? Or when the buyer's loan looks like it might blow up and you're like, oh my gosh, because we're already pending on who do you want to have that conversation with? Who do you want to talk you off the ledge for that? Is it me? I would love to be there for you. I'm really good at that. I feel like we have a connection. Like, do you trust me? Like, those are the biggest differences, are more these interpersonal things. Now, yes, there are some agents that are more experts in certain things and better with the paperwork and but by and large, like, their office isn't going to let them do a bad job.
Right.
Their office isn't going to let them like write up something that doesn't make sense or isn't legal. So a lot of it, it's like, in spending your time thinking what makes me different, you're just not sharpening your skills. Like, the biggest skill is learning how to ask really good questions that create a sense of urgency and establish trust and endear that person to you. When you ask really good questions, and so you can think of whatever situation that and then you can even use this, if you're dating, right? Rather than like, how you start asking good questions, that person's going to want to see you again. They're going to be like, that was amazing. And questions like at networking events, you ask people, what do they do usually you ask someone what they do and they tell you, and then it's like kind of awkward. So they ask what you do and you tell them. And like, neither of you really knows where to take the conversation from there. And so what I recommend, okay, what is it that you do for a living? They tell you, I sell socks. Wow. Now, how did you get into that? Like, that's so interesting. Like, what do you love about doing that? Right? You can ask people, how did they get into that? I don't usually ask people how long they've been doing something. I don't recommend that question. Mostly because at a lot of network, especially if you're newer in your industry, now they're going to ask you, and that's not a question you want to answer, even though nobody cares. Like, they're just asking to like make conversation. But if the person that you're talking to is pretty new in their role or industry, they're insecure. They don't know how to, like, they don't like that question. It makes them, they're going to be like, oh, well, I've only been doing it I just started a few months ago, but my company has been around for like 3 years. And like, the guy who owns my company, he's been doing it for 30 years with this. It's like, you go down and you're like, what just happened? Right? And this is like every industry. So never ask someone how long you've been doing that. Wow. What made you want to get into that? They'll tell you their story. What do you love about what you're doing? Okay, this. Sometimes that will take you in a really cool way. And also just like, what are some of the frustrations or what are some of the challenges? Like, I've never met anyone that sells socks. What are some of the challenges in that industry?
I'm writing something down right now because what you're saying right now is so relevant to another kind of portion of the audience is probably going to watch this, and that's recruiting, right?
Yeah.
Recruiting, it's team building, like whether it be recruiting traditionally, like as a team member or as a broker or a team leader, or even in like a lot of brokerages have revenue share models now. So like what you're saying is so relevant to recruiting. 100%.
Well, it is. And again, with recruiting, there's some really good questions to ask.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
So
I'm like, maybe I should see if you want to come and do a training for one of my team. Like,
we can talk about that.
like we should, like a recruiting training, because like I'm listening to you and I'm like, just what you're saying. I mean, I say it all the time, but it's always better when it comes from someone else, because you're even saying some of the questions that I tell people to ask, and I'm like, it sounds so different coming from you.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when we do our trainings, and if I come into an office or come into a team,
Yeah.
I usually do work really hard to echo what the team leader says. That you want to be in alignment. You don't want to teach something else. Well, people are going, is it that or is it that?
Yeah.
And we call it the cool aunt theory.
Okay.
Like if you're the team mom,
Okay.
when you say something, you can go in one ear and that, and they're like, she's saying that thing again.
Yeah. Yep.
But then the cool aunt gets to come in, say the
Yeah.
exact same thing. Do you have kids?
I don't, but I do have 150 agents that I coach regularly. So yeah.
Okay. Well, if you had kids, if you know kids, you will experience that. Any
Yep.
of your friends that have kids, you can say something that they've said a million times, and they'll be like, but Lynea said.
Yeah.
And
It's
your
so
friend's
true.
going to be like, how many times have I said that? The kid's going to be like, I don't know, because I don't hear anything that you say, Mom.
Well, it's funny because the other day I was talking to one of my coaching agents that I coach, and she was like, I was on another call, and it was the CEO of a brokerage, and he was saying all these these tips to scaling, how you scale your business. And she's like, the funny thing is, and I said, what's the funny thing? She's like, it's literally everything that you say.
Weird.
So it's 100% the cool aunt theory.
Yeah, you're like, that's so weird.
I know, weird.
That's so weird. It's
Yeah.
everything I say and have been telling you until I'm blue in the face and feel like a broken record. That's
Yeah.
so weird. I wonder
Yeah.
why I say those things.
Yeah. And it's also weird because I'm trying to teach you how to be a CEO, and the CEO of a large brokerage is coming on and telling you these things. So
Same things. That's so weird.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really funny thing. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. But also I was kind of like, okay, good. I'm glad I'm saying the right thing, right? So it's a little
Yeah,
bit.
it's like they do notice at some point, but you're like, but why didn't you listen when I said it? They're like, oh, we didn't believe you.
Right.
But now that he said
It's
it.
cool. It's cool. You don't have to. Because like the things that you're saying, like, one of the themes we wanted to talk about a little bit was, you've hired and interviewed dozens of salespeople.
Yes.
Dozens, right? And you also, being that you have been in the top 10% of sales professionals nationally for 30 plus years, you obviously know I'm kidding. You obviously know quite a bit about, just a tiny bit, quite a bit about what makes people tick, what makes salespeople tick. Like, what do let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay. Like in terms of what makes people tick, do you mean like in terms of recruiting people?
Yeah. Yeah. Like, what do you think? Like if someone, like, let's say anyone in here wants to go out and start recruiting anybody. Okay. You have a team leader, you have a broker, you have a revenue share person, whatever. They want to go and they want to start recruiting because they're like, I really want to work with this person. And I want to bring them over to work with me. What do you think makes them, as a person who's a recruiter, right? The recruiter, what do you think makes them tick?
Makes the recruiter tick?
Yeah.
What do you mean by tick? Like,
so like a lot of times, especially if you're looking at we'll just continue on the real estate conversation for a minute. So you're a real estate agent, right? You bring on a really high performing real estate agent and they want to sell a lot of houses. That's what they do. They sell a lot of houses. But then all of a sudden, no, the real estate agent becomes a recruiter. Now they're becoming a team builder. They're becoming a leader. So it's not a different skill set. It's a little bit of a different mindset. So what do you think makes that mindset tick, where some people who successfully transition from being a top salesperson into being a top recruiter? Like, what do you think the difference is for this versus the people who want to recruit but cannot or think they can't?
so the biggest difference is recognizing that parallel line. So I know when I first started recruiting, and the company that I was with, we had a downline structure and I had recruited, I think 52 or 53 agents.
Mm-hmm.
But where my mind went, and the reason I was able to recruit so many, was I was like, oh, this is just like selling houses. I need to have a process, right? Like I have time in my calendar for calling potential, whether it was the leads that were online, I got to call them back, or my referral, whatever it was. But I had time on my calendar for those income producing activities. So you have to ask yourself, okay, so to recruit, what are my income producing activities? How much time and what time should I block on my calendar? What's the cycle of my sale? So people don't often, the ones that don't succeed at it, they don't really ask themselves those questions, because often what happens, they get that role and there's somebody who actually wants to work with them, and so maybe they post on online, or they post somewhere. So someone reaches out to them and is like, "Oh my gosh, like that's so cool, cuz like can we talk?" And then they bring that person on. So oftentimes they get an immediate hit that they didn't have to earn, and then they think, "Oh, well this is great, because then like that should just happen once a week, once a month." I mean, if I get one of those a month, that would be 12 in a year. Like that's how their mind starts going. And it's like, no, 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 no. Your mind, like you'll get whatever you get from, and the tides change, right? Like sometimes lots of people have movement. Sometimes like interest rates drop and lots of houses, lots of people want to buy, or prices go up and lots of people want to sell. Like there's little tides and waves and things that happen. But when you hang your hat on that, your business is a roller coaster, because you're following this like crazy tide that's unpredictable and it's not a controllable. But when you think in terms of controllables, that's great. This person reached out and like right when I first got this job, I now hired somebody. That's awesome. But it's not a controllable. And it's not guaranteed to happen again ever. So I can't say, well, if that just happens once a month, well, if it happens once a quarter, or what? No, it's not a controllable. It's not a predictable. Whenever it happens, that's your gravy. If I'm here cooking a meal, that's my gravy. That's not where I'm going to try to get my like nourishment and sustenance and fill up. And if we have a meal without any gravy, we're going to be okay. We're not going to try to hope for a whole bunch of gravy and that's just what we're eating. That's disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
So you think about, what are my income producing activities? How much of that activity do I need to do? And then from there, how many times do I need to meet with someone before they come over? So what are those meetings? How long? And then again, what are the questions that I should be asking them to make them like, in recruiting agents, one of my favorite ways was open houses. Go to the open house. The first thing I would do, I'd always let them know that like, oh, I'm an agent. I just wanted to check this out for a client, or so that they weren't like all excited that, oh, it's a right. I'd let them know. And then I'd be like, can I just take a quick, and they'd be like, totally. They'd hang out in the kitchen. I'd go through the house real quick, more as my icebreaker. I want to look at the house first so I can compliment them on it. Like, oh, this is is this your listing, or is this one of your coworkers? Doesn't matter how they answer that. Okay, great. How did you get this listed? You ask them, like I'd have my questions that I would ask, and oh, I see you pick up one of the flyers. You're at such and such a company. How do you like it over there? Oh, I love it. Great. What do you love about it? This. Yeah, I've heard great things. What do you not love about it? What do you wish were different? Oh, well, this. Oh, tell me more. Like you can really dig in on some pain points. Gosh, okay, right. And if you can really get them to open up about something, and it's amazing. There are agents out there holding open houses that are miserable at their brokerage, and they haven't really taken time to do anything about it, but they want to, right? And those people, they'll just gush. Oh, well, there's all this drama at the office, and when this happened and that, and it was like, oh my gosh, like, have you ever considered just switching companies? Like, are you familiar with, I'm at such and such are you familiar with this? Yeah, no. Whether they say yes or no, it's like, wow. Well, you know what? I mean, I know you're here. I don't want to be too much of a bother in case like buyers come through, but do you want to just grab coffee? Like, I mean, I'm available tomorrow morning or whenever, right? So you're just like, boom, grabbing their information.
Yeah.
Let me text you. It's so casual. It doesn't feel like your intention to be there was to recruit them.
Yeah.
Like it feels.
I'm so in awe right now. I'm like, that's just, you're right. And it's 100% just asking the right questions.
And knowing because the other way that conversation goes, so how it never goes is like, this person just tried to recruit me.
Yeah.
So some people are super happy at and this is the question I get a lot, like, what if they love where they're at?
Yeah.
Yeah, most agents do. You're like playing duck, duck, goose. So if they're like, oh my gosh, I love it. And and it's like, oh, what don't you love about it? They're like, nothing. I mean, literally, the managing broker is my mom. I will never leave. It's the best ever. And then it's like, no wonder you guys have such a great reputation. That's so awesome. It was so great meeting you. Good luck at your open house today. And again, they don't feel like you just tried to recruit them. They have no idea that the intention and the purpose of those questions was to recruit them.
Right.
Right. And you're not going to be like, oh, it's your mom. Like, would you ever, like, you're playing duck, duck, goose. You're not trying to convince someone to leave a brokerage that they're really happy at. There are so many great agents that are not happy at their brokerage. Just go find them. And you ask the right questions, they will open up. You can just casually pivot it into, yeah, why don't we just grab coffee? Yeah, okay, good luck the rest of the day. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Blah, 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 blah. Set the appointment. Like, get in, get out. The other thing that happens when you're asking those questions, what do you love about it? What don't you love? What do you wish were different? You'll learn things. So there's two different types of people who are unhappy somewhere. And as a recruiter, it's really important to be on the front end. There's one person who's not happy because of something with them personally. Then there's the agents that are not happy because they're one of many because something's happened at the brokerage. What do you love about being at XYZ company? Oh, well, I mean, I used to love it, but then, they fired the broker who was amazing. And she's the whole reason why I was there. Now they got this guy, blah, 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 right? You hear that? Now I'm going to be looking for this sign.
Right.
Now I'm immediately pulling up on my phone going, okay, all the open houses that have this sign, because I know that while if I go to 10 open houses, probably 8 people are happy where they're at and 2 are not. And I know that because I've gone to thousands. I hear a story like that. I go to 10 with that sign in the yard. 8 are unhappy and 2 are happy. I'm just like going fishing now. I'm like,
I love it.
I'm looking like, who's their top producer? I'm calling their top producer. Hey, Lynea. Hey, I know we haven't met, which is so crazy that we haven't met because you've done this many transactions and your name keeps coming up. You've got this amazing reputation. Da, da, da. Hey, I've been hearing some juice about what's going on over. Tell me more. What's your take on it? And if they're open and they start talking, then you're just like, girl, can I buy you lunch? Yes. Awesome.
So easy. You literally, anyone that is watching this, that comes back and watch this, if you have a recruiting model, Amy just broke that down in a way that you almost can't not do it. You almost can't not do what she just said. You just touched on how to do face-to-face open house invites. Because you're right. What's never going to happen is they tried to recruit me. Never. Right? Unless you're being weird about it. If you're being weird about recruiting, yeah, you might get that.
If you do it wrong and are like, I just came in to talk to you about my company. They're going to be like, yeah, that was not cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just like with buyers and sellers and really in any industry, right? As long as you're showing interest in the person in front of you, if you really genuinely care about helping people, asking people questions, there's nothing wrong with asking them questions to help lead them to help you decide if you even have a solution for them.
Yeah. And also to let you know, is this a prospect in front of me? Is this not? When people, you could be at a dinner party and someone's like, oh, my friend says that you're a real estate agent. Yeah. How's the market? Oh, that's a great question. And, it really depends on if you're a buyer, a seller, or an investor. Are you planning to buy or sell at some point in the next 12 months?
Yeah.
It's a very different market if you're a buyer or a seller. So
100%.
Rather than trying to be like, oh, well, there's this many in interest rates are this way and we're expecting it to come to, and have your where they're going to be like, oh, that was a little bit over my head. I'm sorry I asked.
Yeah. They're going to be like, okay, bye. Walk away from you.
So don't come armed with all the market. You want to know your market and but don't word vomit on someone that asks, how's the market? Just go, that's a great question. And it really depends if you're buying or selling. Would you be a buyer or a seller in the next 6 to 12 months?
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. I'm just curious. Okay, well, the market's lukewarm. You don't need to, if they're not buying or selling, that the answer to that question is completely irrelevant. Most people who ask you, how's the market? They're like, well, we've don't say anything to anyone, but we've kind of been thinking and most agents are like, wait, what? Yeah. Every time someone asks you that, 8 out of 10 of those are an opportunity and you're blowing it because you're answering their question.
So you actually just touched on something that I also think is really important because, I teach a lot of content, right? And some people teach that when you put content out, you should put out market updates. right? Just
Yeah.
put out a market update. And I'm always on the totally unpopular side of that, where it's like, no one cares about your market update unless they're actually thinking about buying or selling. And at that point, they will have responded to an email. They would have reached out to you. They would have, some you would know. And that's when your market update becomes relevant. But
Well,
to like just go and it's kind of like what you just said,
yeah.
that like I don't want to share all the market stats with you unless you really care.
Something to think about, even if somebody is planning to buy or sell soon, when you look at what you're putting out as a market update, do
They
you
don't care.
really think that a non-real estate agent is going to understand what that means?
The the
Well, we put it
like
on a cool graphic and
the
it's like,
DOM and the CDOM and the, you know, the time to sell and the sales to list price and list to sales price, like, yeah,
I, like most people who are not in real estate,
understand.
they don't know. Yeah, my family, like my mom, when she watches stuff, she's like, what is DOM? Days on market. Well, how am I supposed to know that? Well, you're not. That's why you asked me. But thank you. Now you know. Is there a difference between CDOM and DOM? Kind of.
I know.
Not
Yeah,
real. Depends on if it's been relisted. I don't know.
it depends. Yeah. So
Yeah.
funny. It's so true. So true. You know, I think it's you know, one of the things that I'm kind of gathering about you just in watching is like you're very authentic. You're very authentic in what you say and how you say it. And I assume that you're probably that way with your with coaching as well. Like you're very authentic in your coaching. Well,
That,
I kind of gather that.
that's actually what makes me different than all the other coaches out there. So it
Yeah,
makes me stand out.
I'm
It's
the
my
only authentic
authenticity.
one.
That's actually what makes me stand out. So it makes me different, Lynea.
Yeah, yeah. It's true though. I used to tell people like I met a coach earlier this year. She's a differentiation coach.
Ooh.
And she, yeah, it's fascinating. She works with so she works with commercial real estate agents and other people in kind of that higher wealth industry. But she said she calls herself a differentiation coach, and it's fascinating. So we had dinner together, and I was like, you know, I can talk to another coach all day, every day. Like, you know, we're obviously having a great conversation right now, and
I
I'm like,
love that.
let me hear what you say, right? But she teaches people like how to basically speak their differentiation, how to present their differentiation, like factors, and I think it's fascinating. I'm like, you know, that it's true, like differentiation is really the fact that I'm here in front of you, and obviously
Yeah.
something I said, whether it be in the way I told my story, the story that I told, the referral that you got to me, or however it is, that's really the factor. And so,
I mean, in my experience, the people who are most successful, and this is in coaching, this is in recruiting, this is in selling shingles, this is in pretty much everything. The people who are successful are the ones who are doing the activity.
yeah,
And when you're doing the activity, that's also a big differentiator. Like,
yep,
I'm actually doing the activity, I'm making phone calls. I've called, like when I first started and I didn't have a lot of referrals, I would cold call people. But I remember one manager that I wanted to do a sales training. Um, and he's like, why would I have you come into a training in front of my team if like I don't even know who you are? And I was like, well, how are they doing it cold calling? He's like, oh, they're terrible. And I was like, what would it do for their business if they were better at cold calling? And he's like, oh, I mean, they could literally double their business, but how do I know that you could teach them that? And I'm like, how are we even having this conversation? I'm like, if I could teach them nothing other than what I literally just did, I kept you on the phone. I looked at my phone. I was like, I've kept you on the phone. We're having a delightful conversation for 18 minutes. And I've shown you, I've done my value proposition. I've asked you, I've closed and asked for the appointment. You said no. I'm currently, as we're talking, overcoming the objection. You're still on the phone. Sounds like you're still smiling. Like if I could teach them just that, if I didn't teach them anything else, but just that,
right.
what would that do for them? And he's like, why do I feel like I should have you in? And I said, because you're a smart man.
Because obviously,
Because
obviously,
obviously. And
yeah,
the thing is like a lot of times people will tell me like, oh, like I don't want to be pushy or I don't want to sound. And it's like, That's not pushy. It's playful. It is confident. It is assertive. But at the end of the day, if he wasn't interested, he'd have hung up. He'd have hung up. He was still on the phone, and I knew that that was going to be value. But it's like, if I just taught him, like, how do you know? I'm literally like demonstrating it. You should know with a greater degree of confidence than if like 10 people told you I'm really good at that, but then you had to call me.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Like, I'm literally demonstrating it right now on this call. Like, and I think I asked him, like, do I sound pushy? Do I sound aggressive? He's like, no, you're like really friendly. I'm like, yeah. And like something in you wants to, I'm like, and even better, when I'm standing in front of your team and you introduce me, you can tell them she cold called me and she made me want to book with her. You can even tell them, look, guys, it works. Like, how can you tell them? Because this was a commercial real estate office.
Okay.
But I was like, how can you tell them cold calling works if you don't book someone that cold called you? And if that's the big thing you want them to do. So of course he booked with me. And of course that they,
I love
we
that.
don't want to be pushy. We don't want to, and it's like, no, if you don't want to be pushy, then don't be pushy, but be friendly.
Being pushy and asking questions are two totally different things.
And like when you're kind of playful, like, because I think he laughed and was like, oh, that's true, isn't it? I'm like,
yeah,
it is true. I mean, it's a free sales training. And he's like, how did I know you made me good? I'm like, well, I'm literally doing the thing that we'll be training them on. How do I know the training will be good? I'm like, well, what's the worst that's going to happen if it's not? They're going to spend 30 minutes in front of someone who's terrible. Like,
well, but also he already spent this much time on the phone with you.
Yeah, I'm like, it's a pretty low risk.
Pretty low risk. I love it.
It's a pretty low risk. I'm like, bro, you know.
You already know.
Yeah, like, it's going to be a good use of their time.
Yeah. I mean, obviously. What do you think is one of the biggest myths about success in sales?
The biggest myth is that you need to be an extrovert to be good at sales.
I love that. I had someone on my this episode earlier, a few episodes back, and she is a coach for introverts. Yeah.
Introverts, everything that we have talked about on this podcast, because there's a myth that you have to be an extrovert to be good at sales, there's a lot of extroverts that get into sales.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we've talked about needed to be said because it's not natural to extroverts. Extroverts, you ask them a question, they want to be like, oh, let me tell you, let me do my song and dance. I have my thing, and let me show you my cool thing. How am I different than everyone else? Here we go, right? Like, extroverts are like, oh, you just asked me a question, let's go.
Yeah.
Introverts, it's very natural for them to be like, no, you don't ask me I ask the question. I want to learn about you, please. Yep. Like, can we talk about you? Don't focus on me. I'm not even here. what is it what do you love about what you're doing? Like, introverts really, when they're in front of, they want to know about the other person. Oh, no. Me? No, we're not going here. I'm inside here. Let's talk about you. Can we please talk about you? So for introverts, as soon as they understand, like as soon as you teach an introvert, like, yeah, it's all about they're like, wait, really? No, I'm good at asking. I can ask questions. I don't have to like answer questions. I don't have to think. I don't have to perform. I just have to be interested in someone and listen. I'm so good at listening.
Yeah.
Introverts can be some of the best salespeople because here's the thing. There's two things to be good at sales. You need to be reaching out to lots of people. Mm-hmm. But then you need to be asking them good questions to develop that relationship. So extroverts have that first skill, and they usually do not do very well here. But because they're so good at talking to they can just talk to lots and lots and lots of people, and it conceals the fact that so they have low conversion, but they're talking to so many people that it conceals that. And that creates this illusion that like, oh, if you're just an extrovert and you just talk to 1,000 people, you know what? You don't need to talk to 1,000 people. You talk to 100 people and you ask good questions and listen, you're going to have better results. And it's going to be so much easier and more fun. And the introvert, if they can just talk to those 100 people, they're like, oh, you can put a person in front of me. I will listen like I have 4 ears. Like we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? They're like, oh, no. Like, I have really big ears. I'm really good at listening. I'm like Dumbo. I can listen. And a lot of times they don't even reach out to that first person because they think they need to call 1,000. And it's like, no, you just go slow and steady like the turtle, but be a really good listener, and you will outsell that person who's just like smiling and dialing.
So true. I love it. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
So interestingly, because I present like an extrovert when I'm on podcasts, like, right, and I'm being the one talking, but more naturally, I am an introvert. That my energy comes from more being alone than being out. Like, and that's the key differentiator, right?
Right.
That my energy comes more from being alone than being out. And I get my battery gets drained when I'm around too many people. So I'm definitely an introvert. Being in sales, I was like taught to be more of an extrovert.
Fair.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can turn that on when I need to. But that's what I think is the biggest myth. And it's so fun when I've worked with introverts who they're like these silent killers. They'll just pick up the phone, they'll have a nice conversation, express interest. The person on the other end, they're just like, I love them. Like, that's who I want to list my house with. Like, because the person on the other end, they're like, oh, she gets me. That's who we're going to use. We trust her and she gets me.
Yeah. It's interesting. A lot of people who are what I would say the I look at as being super successful, most of them identify as introverts.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them. It's actually really interesting because I've taken the MBTI multiple times and I'm an ENFJA is what it says. However, when I look at it, I'm like, I enjoy being in large groups of people when I know people, I enjoy it. But I'm done. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm done. I feel like drained versus energized from it. So I'm like, am I taking the test wrong?
Well, what if you drain? That's an introvert, right?
That's what I'm saying. But it says that I'm an extrovert on the MBTI. An
Oh,
ENFJ.
interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I've taken it like 6 times. And I'm like, am I taking the test wrong? Because when I
Maybe
read,
not, because
yeah.
if you really enjoy that,
I mean, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. I enjoy it when I know people. But if I'm in like a crowd, like if I go to, I'm not the person who's going to go to a networking meeting. Like I'm not I'm not a networker like that. But I will go to a big event. And actually sometimes I really do get energized when I think about, oh, I get to go to a conference and see all my people, right? That gives me energy. But
yeah.
then at the end, I'm like, oh, I'm drained.
And again, introverts can be better networkers when they just learn a couple skills.
Yeah.
So the challenge, so both kind of need the extroverts are better without any training. An extrovert is going to do better because without an extrovert's just going to go talk to people and
Yeah.
like say things.
Right. Say things.
And every once in a while, they're going to say something that makes someone want to do business with them. They don't even know why.
Right.
Why? I don't know. But they did. So off to the races. Like, so an extrovert can really just like fake it. And in pretty much any industry, right? Doesn't matter what you're selling. They're to go talk to people, say things, and then things happen. I shook a tree and something fell out.
Right.
An introvert, if they aren't given any guidance, they'll go to the networking, but they'll sit in the corner by themselves. So without training, the extrovert does do better. But with training, like proper sales skills, when you teach an extrovert, a lot of times they're just like, oh, but I'm not. What did you say? I'm sorry. Can I just go say things? That seems to be working for me. But an introvert, if they're like, I don't want to go to the networking meeting because then like there's all these people and like, and if you're just like, hey, would you be comfortable talking to one person? Well, yeah, that I could do. What about like 3? Like, what's your max? Probably 3. 3 is probably my max. Okay, let's do this. Go. Like, if you could get the list ahead of time so you can kind of plan who you're going to talk to, think about the questions that you'll ask. If they have 3 really good conversations that lead to like a one-on-one appointment, which most of them will, if they're asking good questions that makes the other person want to meet with them, they're going to do way better than the extrovert who just goes and talks to people and says things. That extrovert over time will become known. Oh yeah, that's so and so, right? And they'll get business. But that introvert, can walk away like literally with appointments because I'm not working the room. I'm talking to you. And even if their max is one person, an introvert having one intentional conversation at every networking meeting will outperform an extrovert who's just talking to people and saying things.
Totally makes sense. It's all about right there.
Yeah, but the extrovert outperforms the introvert who's sitting in the corner by themselves. Like, so you can't do that. You do have to talk to someone, but you really, and they're so relieved when it's like, no, you just need to talk to one person. And when you work from home and you stay, that person's not knocking on your door. So you got to go to the place where all the people are, but you only need to talk to one. And if you can talk to two, you're going to double your results. What's your max? My max is 3. Great, talk to 3. If your max is 5, your max is 2. Some people, their max is 1. It's still worth it because that person's not going to knock on your door. You got to go to the place where all the people are, but you only need to talk to one. And literally, and the other reason why introverts can scale, a lot of introverts in the beginning, they're like, yeah, 1 is my max. Like, that's a stretch for me, but I'll do it. If you talk about more, I'm going to break into hives. So 1. Once they get used to that, all they have to do is talk to 2 people and they're doubling their impact, right?
Yep, 100%.
Like, and a lot of times the people that I've worked with where 1 is their max, like they can meet with 1, they go again, they can meet with 1, they can go again. And then they're like, I can talk to 3 people. I can talk to 4 people. You know, they can get up to like 5 pretty quickly. And now they're like 5xing their impact. So that's the other thing that I think a lot of coaches don't realize is meeting people where they're at, right? That like, saying things to people like, well, if you don't talk to at least 4 or 5 people, it's really not worth it. It's like, no, what's your max? 1? Go talk to 1.
It's like, about like building, got to build the thing that feels best for you. Because the more you try to push yourself beyond what feels best right now, the least likely you're going to do it. I like to put it in the whole going to the gym.
Yeah.
I've been going to the gym for 25 years. So for me, like there's not a lot that I won't do or that I can't do at the gym. But I'm also not the person who is just trying to go for the first time. If I was trying to go for the first time, would I go all out and do everything that I do today? Absolutely not. Why? Because I'm going to get overwhelmed. I'm going to overwork myself. I'm going to wear myself out. And so I'm not going to want to do it again. So it's the same thing with business and with, you know, introversion, extroversion, recruiting, sales. We've talked about a lot today. So it's the same thing. It's like the thing that feels the most comfortable for you at this moment. And then, you know, the next moment you got to stretch that comfort zone a little bit.
But even recruiting, oh my gosh, when you recruit through open houses, you're literally just talking to one person.
Yeah.
And it's like a lovely conversation. And it's amazing how quickly, how many people, you know, and then once you've met with them, who else do you know? Who else? And especially if there's like a brokerage that is having some drama, man, if you're in recruiting, the sooner. So if you are in the habit of going to open houses every single weekend, you're going to be on the front end of those. You're going to hear that like, well, I love my brokerage, but then like I heard all these things that my broker might be leaving, which is different than my broker left.
Right.
Right? You're hearing it like when the first rumblings, when it's not even news yet, no one's even sure if it's happening. Usually if someone thinks something's happening, oh, it's happening. Yeah. So you kind of know because I used to start, like I'd recruit a bunch of people from a specific brokerage and then from another. And like I would get like 4 or 5 people from a specific brokerage. And then everyone would find out that their managing broker was just let go and somebody else came in that nobody liked. And they'd be like, but you got those people before. So how did you know that? And I'm like, I'm paying attention to what's going on in my local market. And because then everyone's making all their calls, but it's too late. Like I'm already talking to them. And they're like, how are you always knowing what's going on? And it's like, I tell you all my secrets. I go to open houses, I ask questions, and I listen with my little ears.
That's it.
I listen.
Got great listening ears. Great listening ears.
Listening ears.
Oh my gosh, Amy, this has been such a good conversation. We are so over time right now. I'm sorry, but it's been a good conversation. So I wanted to keep it going, but I want to know, there's obviously going to be people who are watching this and they want to know how can my audience help you? You've given so much value, dropped so many nuggets today. How can my audience help you?
Well, first of all, introductions to anyone who's interested in getting a coach and increasing their sales or recruiting. So whether they're in real estate or something else or any type of leadership, my actual sweet spot that I work with a lot is somebody who's new to sales leadership. Like where they were the top producer and now they have a team and they're like, "Ooh, how do I hire and recruit and how do I onboard and how do I," like all these things that I didn't know that I needed to know and that I thought would just happen automatically. They're not happening automatically. That's kind of that's my ideal client.
Okay.
Is that,
perfect. And
that
there's
leadership.
plenty of those here. Plenty of those.
There's so many. They're like everywhere.
It's exactly the question I asked you earlier without even realizing that. Like, had the person that's going from being that top producing agent to now a recruiter, right? It's kind of that sort of person right there.
Well, because so there's recruiting, but then after you've recruited people, how do I onboard them? How do I lead them? How do I lead the different behavior styles? How do I know who is a high D on the disc and who's a high I, and how do I lead them differently? How do I get direct and to the point with my Ds, but build more rapport with my Is when I'm leading the whole team? Like, how do I give enough information to the high Cs and give the stability to the S's? Like, how do I do all that? I'm just one person. So leadership is a lot more than just recruiting. It's like, once you've recruited them, now what? What do I do with them?
Right.
They're here.
Hi. Welcome. Love it. And
how do I train them? How do I get them to be the best that they can be? Right? So this is an amazing experience for them and for me. How do I build something big enough that it holds my vision, holds all of their dreams inside? How do I do that?
I love it. How do you retain? It's retention, right? What you're talking about is retention. How do you get people, you've done all the work to get them there. So now how do you keep them there? So I love that.
So those are the people that I work with best. And then
how can they get a hold of you?
So I'm on all the socials. LinkedIn is probably where I'm the most active, and then Facebook and Instagram. And I know people are like, how old are you? Are you 100?
I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn too. We're good.
I know. I'm a 1974 baby. That is my birthday. I'm very proud of it. So yes, I'm over 50 and I use LinkedIn and then Facebook and then Instagram.
Yeah.
I will just own it. I know everyone's like, no, Amy, Instagram and TikTok. I'm like, I'm not on TikTok.
I'm only on TikTok for the purpose of repurposing. I don't do any content specifically for TikTok because I'm like, I don't even understand it.
I don't have a TikTok account. I am LinkedIn, Facebook, and then Instagram in that order.
I love it. Love it. Okay. Well, Amy, this has been
amazing. That shows your age. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. I always tell people I'm 1979. So, it's like, whatever. I don't care. Who cares?
Yes.
Amy, it's been amazing. This has been an awesome conversation. I know I personally have gained a lot from it. We'll have to have the whole, let's talk about maybe sales training for my team. Cause I know my team would love that. Recruiting training more specifically, to be honest, cause that's what they do. But it's been awesome
too. We can do lots of good stuff.
Yeah, this has been awesome. So anyone watching, make sure to subscribe, make sure to find Amy, find her on LinkedIn, find her on Facebook and Instagram, Amy Donaldson. And also we'll have her contact in the show notes or the description below. Thank you so much. And stay tuned for the next episode.
All right. Bye.
Bye.